suggest a moment ago that there might be some alternative funding source he could tap into if Congress does not pass more aid for Ukraine. What is that funding source?
I'm not going to go beyond what the president said. You're going to hear directly from him, as he said. He's going to give a major remarks on Ukraine. I'm just not going to get beyond that. Okay.
Our colleagues at CNN are reporting that the U.S. is sending seized weapons from Iran to Ukraine. Can you confirm that? And is that something that we're going to see more of if Ukraine aid continues to be stalled?
So look, I wouldn't connect the two. Here's what I can say. CENTCOM put out a statement on this. The Department of Defense announced that the U.S. government transferred 1.1 million rounds of small arms ammunition for Ukrainian infantry units. And as I mentioned, U.S. Central Command, naval forces seized these munitions as they were en route from Iranian Revolutionary Guard.
Oh man, you are.
To militant groups in Yemen in violation of international law and United Nations Security Council Resolution 2216. We will continue to take actions to support Ukraine in their fight for freedom against tyranny and to curb Iran's destabilizing activities in the region and beyond. And so that is our commitment that we will continue to have. And this is a way that we felt that we can also continue to support Ukraine.
And to make these questions about alternative ways to fund Ukraine, was that the deal that the president was referring to again today when he said that the Democrats had a deal with Speaker McCarthy? Maybe it wasn't to bring a bill to the floor on Ukraine, but maybe this other avenue to get aid to Ukraine.
I'm not going to get ahead of the president or go beyond what he said today. He's going to speak to this when he's ready to do so.
Now, answer me seriously.
Is the president monitoring this meeting, which is going to be taking place over the next few weeks, and does he have thoughts on this agenda as somebody who's a practicing Catholic?
So look, we're not going to get into the internal workings of the Catholic Church. That is something for them to work through.
Oh, a deer! A female deer!
But certainly the president is proud of his faith. And enjoys a warm relationship with Pope Francis. They share a lot of common goals. And so I'm going to leave that there, let them deal with their internal kind of workings, and just not going to comment beyond that.
And the Pope singled out the U.S. in his new document on the environment, specifically on emissions in the U.S. On climate change, and said that a broad change in the irresponsible lifestyle connected with the Western model would have a significant long-term impact. What's the White House reaction to this tough criticism from the Pope on something that's a big priority for the president? And is that something that the Pope expressed to the president directly when they've had conversations?
Well, certainly I'm not going to speak to any private conversations that the Pope has had or the president has had with the Pope. What I can speak to, and this is something that the president has done since day one, or said since day one, how climate change is indeed an emergency.
Exactly, you know it. Wait, what did you say?
And he has taken actions. He's taken actions to deal with climate change, and declared climate as a basis for emergency action under the Defense Production Act, DPA. Set aside $500 million from DPA to jumpstart heat pump manufacturing and build out our electric grid. Deploy tens of millions more from the DPA to stand up solar manufacturing and source critical materials for EVs. Signed the most ambitious climate bill in history, the Inflation Reduction Act, as you know, which is going to actually put forth investments to deal with climate change and conserve more land and waters in his first year in office than any president since JFK.
Good job.
Yeah.
Take pride in that.
The president has shown his commitment. He's walked the walk, if you will, and he'll continue to work through whatever else he can do to deal with climate change.
Thank you. The governor of Illinois has written to President Biden to say the federal government's lack of intervention and coordination at the border has created an untenable situation for Illinois. Does anybody outside of the White House think the immigration policy is working?
I didn't understand a one word you said.
So here's what I can tell you. I just mentioned that the president requested $4 billion for supplemental funding to address what we're seeing at the border. Right, and to manage what is happening currently at the southwest border more specifically. And Republicans continue to block us. They do. They continue to block us. And without Congress, the president has taken action. He's taken action, whether it is whether surging resources to the border. We have removed and returned more than 250,000 people since May 12th, and working with partners and countries across the region to actually deal with this issue. So the president has continued to try to put forth actions and ways to deal with what we're seeing at the border, and Republicans continue to block us.
All for ethnic diversity, but this is just pandering.
I just mentioned moments ago, like 2 weeks ago, they put forth a CR that would take away law enforcement at the border.
Different topic. There are some new pictures of Commander Biden biting a staffer again. How many times has that dog bitten the Bidens?
I would refer you to the Secret Service and also the First Lady's office.
The dream.
Okay. It's the 12th known incident of this dog biting a White House staffer. A lot of times when that happens, there's a lawsuit. Isn't the president worried about getting sued?
I would refer you to the Secret Service or the First Lady's office.
Wait, what?
One. Is any part of the West Wing here just loving the fact that Republicans don't appear to be able to govern the one part of the government that they actually control?
Nobody's loving anything when we're not able to deliver for the American people. Nobody's loving that. When it is important for Congress to work, not for us, but on behalf of the American people. It is important to make sure that we meet the challenges of the American people. That's what's important. What we saw, and you heard from the president, what we saw on Saturday should have never have happened. We're glad that a deal was made. We're glad that we're not in a shutdown. But House Republicans should have never gotten us that far. And so they are the majority in the House. They can fix this. They're creating the chaos. That is not helpful to the American people. That's why you saw the president today talk about student debt relief and talk about what else he's doing to make sure that we're giving a little bit of breathing room to the American people. That's why you heard from the president yesterday talking about, or our announcement, talking about how we're continuing to beat Big Pharma so we can lower prescription drug costs for the American people. That's what the president cares about. That's what he wants to see. What can we continue to do to help Americans as they face really tough challenges?
Make it stop, Brad! Make it stop!
This is not, we're not loving it. It is not helpful to any American across the country.
In any of the meetings about this in the last 24 hours, has anybody in the West Wing heard anybody talking about the possibility of Speaker Trump?
This is something for House Republicans to figure out. This is something for them to fix. We're not going to get involved in the speakership. We don't care who is in the race or who is out the race.
What?
That is not for us to figure out. The president doesn't have a vote. No one here has a vote. They have to figure this out.
Have you lost your damn mind?